Hello and welcome everyone. Today I want to talk about this article called The Earliest Evidence of Christianity in Arabia. It's about a rock inscription from the Jordanian desert which invokes Jesus. It was written by Marek Dospel on March 30th, 2022. So this is an image of a find with some inscriptions on it, and this rock has the name of Jesus on it, and it dates from apparently the 4th century. The question here is this ancient rock inscription the earliest evidence of Christianity in Arabia? Now this is from the Badia Epigraphic Survey Project. And it says here, before the emergence of Islam in the early 7th century, Arabia was home to a different monotheistic faith. Centuries before Muhammad, some ancient Arabian tribes seem to have adopted Christianity. While the arrival of Christianity in Arabia has been known through literary sources written by outsiders, such as the famous Bible scholar and translator Saint Jerome, recent discoveries present evidence of Christianity from pre-Islamic Arabia itself. Now, the subject of pre-Islamic Christianity within Arabia, I will be tackling that in the future. I've got extensive notes I need to sit down and edit and so on. However, this is really a fascinating inscription, and you'll see why in a moment. Now, the vast swaths of desert east of the Jordan River reveal thousands of ancient inscriptions, some of which bear crosses and use Christian terminology. Now, of course, I got this from the biblicalarchaeology.org site. Thanks to my subscribers and those who supported me, I've been able to subscribe to Biblical Archaeology, and they collect articles from all over the place and they republish them on their website. So they gather scientific data, inscriptions, archaeology, and so on, and many of them actually conflicting. They'll bring different scholarly opinions together, but you can see what's happening in terms of archaeology that is relevant to the Bible. So this is the area here. This is Jerusalem. Okay, this is Israel here. That's Petra. And this is the Hara Desert. And this is the area that they are interested in here. This is Amman, Jordan, and we're looking at this area around here, Wadi al-Qudari. So the Hara, this is a rocky basalt desert found in southern Syria and northeastern Jordan, and in northern Saudi Arabia. This would be northern Saudi Arabia here. This would be northeast Jordan, and this here would of course be Syria. It was for millennia home to pastoral nomads who left behind thousands of rock carvings and inscriptions, some of which attest to the first arrival of Christianity in Arabia. Let's have a look at that. This is the Hara Desert. As you can see, it is incredibly barren. It's rocky, it's barren. Here's some additional photos of this. I mean, this is really, really dry. So this is an incredibly dry desert. It's this area here. You'll see this. Right, so it's a fairly large area. It's location of the Eastern Badia Archaeological Project research area. That's on researchgate.net. This is another picture of the site. As you can see, incredibly barren. It's of course possible that maybe 2,000 years ago, the site had different weather. It might have been wetter. Maybe it's drier now for various reasons. Again, some close-ups of some of the rocks in the area. So this is dry basalt rock. Again, that's the desert area here. And this is an article. This is the extension of the existing article. And you'll notice here, this image, you'll see the kind of inscriptions that have been found in this area. Here's another one that has a cross on it. I'll discuss this article at a later time. At the moment, this is from Bible History Daily. It's the Biblical Archaeology Society. This is the article I'm referring to. Writing for the spring 2022 issue of Biblical Archaeology Review, Ahmad al-Jalad presents fascinating results of his 2019 epigraphic mission in the Wadi al-Qudari in northeastern Jordan. So the survey discovered hundreds of ancient inscriptions recorded by these nomads who roamed this region nearly 2,000 years ago. The find spots and distribution of the inscriptions indicate the routes and temporary sites that Arabian tribes used when hunting wild animals and herding their livestock and camels. Every such inscription is a precious source of historical and cultural information. So for that period of, when you look at the period around Islam, a lot of information disappeared. Now, we do know it was part of the culture of, the early Muslims to destroy anything from the Jahiliyyah, anything that competed with Islam. So anything from the period of ignorance prior to the coming of Islam was wiped out. So the fact that we're now starting to rediscover some of these things, that not everything was destroyed, that this is incredible. This gives us much deeper insight into the history of that area, obviously into the origins of early Islam, as well as other cultures that were there. So we can just paint a much deeper picture of the history. Every such inscription is a precious source of historical and cultural information, but one among them is truly remarkable as it documents the very early penetration of Christianity in Arabia. Likely dating to the 4th century, the inscription invokes Jesus. The interesting part is it's with the name given for Jesus in the Quran. It invokes Jesus with the name given to Jesus in the Quran, which is incredible. This is the area that this was found. You can see the kind of rocks here. This is a single cairn. This is a little rock mound. You can see a little triangular rock mound. This contained more than 100 ancient inscriptions, including the one invoking Jesus. So a professor of Arabic at The Ohio State University and a specialist in the languages of pre-Islamic Arabia, Al-Jalad tells the discovery story and provides an in-depth analysis of this inscription. He first introduces the Hara, the black basalt desert in northeastern Jordan, which I just showed you guys. And he says here the tribes that dwelt in this marginal environment left extensive archaeological remains dating from the Neolithic to modern times. So the Neolithic goes way back. You're looking up to 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years ago. These include burial installations, animal enclosures, and campsites, but the most remarkable witness to the region's past is its epigraphic record, including inscriptions and rock art. Introducing the inscriptions as a group, commenting on their style, content, and the scripts or alphabets, Al-Jalad adds, writing came to the nomads of North Arabia as early as the beginning of the first millennium BC. So in the first 1,000 years before before Christ was born, writing was already a product of these peoples. It was something that was already present in the area. So it's very unusual that we have less and less information, the time of Islam. Clearly they wiped out a lot of information. But by the turn of the Common Era, the nomads of the Hara had mastered the written word. They carved tens of thousands of rock inscriptions in their local vernacular. So tens of thousands. Now this is an early dialect of Arabic using an indigenous consonantal alphabet, which modern scholars have called Safayitic. And that's here I've called Safayitic. Let's have a look at the languages present in the Quran, for instance. So this is from Arthur Jeffries, Foreign Words in the Quran. If you go to my community page, you will find this and a full link to the entire spreadsheet as well. I will link the link in the description. There's Syriac, Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, Ethiopic, huge number of Ethiopic words and Greek words. And now the Safayitic, there we go, Safa number 21 in this row, number 17 in the list. And there are 17 Safayitic words in the Quran. So, yes, it's a language that is actually present in the Quran, so it's absorbed something. Arabic has absorbed something from this language. Possibly the earliest witness to Christianity in Arabia, the Jesus inscription from the Wadi al-Khadari, is a memorial inscription, meaning that it commemorates a deceased person. It consists of 3 parts: the inscriber's name, Wahb el, and genealogy, then adds a commemoration of his deceased uncle, and finally concludes with a unique religious invocation to Isay. I'm going to bolden that. So it's a unique religious invocation to Isay, which corresponds to the name given to Jesus in the Quran, of all things. O Isay, or Sai, help him against those who deny you. There can be little doubt that the writer, and possibly also his uncle, was Christian. This is really an unusual find, and this might be the earliest, and probably I've provided in the past 3 other references where scholars have tried, including Islamic scholars, have tried to say, look, this is the source of the name Isa for Jesus within the Quran. However, this will be the earliest source on record. And it is thus fascinating. So there can be little doubt that the writer and possibly his uncle was Christian. Great, we've got that part. So it's that Christians were using the name Isa, these Safayitic nomads. Now, on that rock inscription that we saw above, this is the section where the name is mentioned here. It says Jesus in the Quran is called Isa, which corresponds to the divine name Sa, circled. Right, so I'll make a note of that. So that's the divine name here, invoked in this memorial text, and the drawing is courtesy of the Badia Epigraphic Survey Project. The present text is typical Safayitic composition, but the old gods in the prayers are replaced by a Christian invocation. So the style culturally seems reminiscent of their old culture, but this has now been replaced by a Christian invocation invoking Jesus. Wahb el may therefore have been a convert who modified the Safavitic writing tradition to accommodate his new faith, invoking Jesus with the same formulaic structure used to invoke the old gods. These gods would have been obviously the pagan gods of Arabia, which were modeled after, and in some cases just a copy of the gods of Babylon. And the main god of that region was the moon god. In many cases, well, the name of the moon god, the prime moon god, was called Al-Makka, although he appeared in at least, say, a dozen other names, but he was known as Al-Makka, and we all know where Makkah is. Regarding the circumstances surrounding the inscription and the rise of Christianity in Arabia, Al-Jalad theorizes Wahb el may have had close contacts with settled areas, such as Bosra in Syria. So that would be Busra in Syria. Let's go have a look where Busra is in Syria. So Busra is right here on the border. Okay, that's Busra in Syria. So it's right in southwestern Syria, well, directly south of Damascus. It's, slap bang in the middle of northern Jordan, and it's just northeast of Jerusalem, right? So this is Petra, and this here is Busra in Syria, right? So hopefully, so the finds were here. So these people were clearly traveling in this region up to here. Also, you might remember from my discussions in the Seerah, in the Gospels of Muhammad, what they like to call the biographies, when Muhammad's mom was giving birth, a light shone from her private parts all the way to Busra in Syria, 1,300 kilometers away, where the light could be seen shining off the palaces in Busra. So yeah, Muhammad, the light he shone out of his mom was very, very bright. So that's Busra. Let's continue. He may have had close contact with settled areas such as Bosra in Syria, or the cities of Decapolis in Transjordan, which appear in other Safavitic texts. On the other hand, it is possible that his inscription reflects the efforts of missionaries to convert the nomads. There is that possibility. They say to further explore the context and implications of the Jesus inscription as the earliest evidence of Christianity in Arabia, read this article, Jesus in Arabia, Tracing the Spread of Christianity into the Desert. This article is the second one that I've mentioned here, and it's in the Biblical Archaeology Review called Jesus Found. So that's a very early inscription of Jesus. And that ends this discussion, but I hope this was very, very interesting. So now it seems that we have discovered the very earliest mention of the name Isa, Jesus, in Arabia. And I'll continue this. I'll go to the second article and we'll cover that, but hopefully this was interesting. So thanks again. Take care. Goodbye.